28 people in the U.S. die in drunk driving accidents every day. As alcohol is consumed, it negatively affects the central nervous system. Our documentary will interview those who have to suffer the consequences for another person's drunken disaster.
My first question is, when someone comes to court for a DUI charge, what's the process?
Um, First thing that happens is they get a ticket. They get a ticket. If I got a DWI and it was me, first thing I'd want to do is get a lawyer. And then they will get something called an arraignment. Arraignment is their first appearance where the judge reads to them what the charges are against them. And they may get other charges besides the DWI, say they got into an accident, say they went through a stop sign or something like that. They'll get other charges along with the DWI. So pre-COVID, there was a requirement that every DWI trial from time of getting the ticket to the time that the case was done with, and I may be wrong with this, I think there was a 6-month time period that it had to be done. Next is once they get arraigned, they will get a trial date. In between then and the trial date, they get something called discovery. Discovery is when their attorney or they will ask, tell me everything that you have in your case against me, and they're entitled to that. That'll include a bunch of stuff. It'll include police reports. If there's an accident, it'll include an accident report. If there is an ALCA test, which is basically a breathalyzer, there's an ALCA test given. They'll get what the reading is, and there's a whole printout. Once they get all the discovery together, then they're going to decide, am I going to plead guilty or not guilty? So that's usually how the case goes through. Then we'll have a trial, and everybody will present their proofs. State has to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. It's their obligation. If not, the case gets dismissed. If the person is convicted, then they can then take it up on appeal to go to the next level of court. And what the next level court, the appellate court, all that they can do is take a look at what happened below. The appellate court will just look at this chunk of information, all the exhibits, all the DWI discovery that I just talked about, everything that went into evidence, all the testimony, and decide whether or not that the conviction could be sustained. And if so, they will find the person guilty at the appellate division level. And then potentially a defendant could take it up to the next level, which is the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is different. Supreme Court can decide what cases they want to hear. They may take a look at it and say, it's a bunch of BS. We're not going to hear it. So it usually ends at the appellate division. There are very few DWI reported Supreme Court cases.
What advice would you give about the dangers of being intoxicated while driving?
Okay. So let's just talk about buzzed driving, drinking a beer. So somebody may have a beer or one drink and be way below the legal limit. But the fact of the matter is, even having one drink or just smoking a little bit of pot may not impair their driving terribly, but it may impair their driving some. They may not be able to react in a way that they would as if they were completely sober. Most importantly, not only is it a danger to you, but you're putting everybody else on the roadway in danger. Everybody else driving, crossing the street, dogs, property are in jeopardy if you're driving while intoxicated, and even if you're driving buzzed. So those are basically the pitfalls. Those are the dangers. You can kill somebody, and it happens. You can kill yourself. People will just nod out when they're under the influence and just drive off the side of the road and die. That happens.
So first, introduce yourself.
My name is Mackenzie Ade Martinez, and I lost a child to drunk driving.
I am William Ade Sr., and I was Kevin's father.
What were you doing when you found out?
I was at work, found out as my son, and a couple friends came with him to come and tell me at work.
I was at work at the time. It was, I think it was a Saturday morning. I was working a job working extra hours, and I believe it was a Saturday morning, and he was on his way to college, actually, for a Saturday class.
So how long did it take for you to recover from your son being killed?
I haven't recovered. It's an everyday process. You just don't get over that.
Well, that was 2007. So it's been 14 years, and that's basically still a process. It was extremely difficult for probably 2.5 years, and then it sort of changed at that point. But I think it's something that never ends. I think it's going to be a probably forever process.
What's your family? How long did it take for them?
I think it's the same. It's an everyday process. It's just not something. The death of somebody is not something you get over. It just continues.
They were also very devastated. We've not personally gone through anything like that. What we were faced with, everybody was very supportive of each other. I guess getting through it, best we could.
How did you get through it? Like, who was there to support you?
Family was there to support me for sure, but I have great faith, and my beliefs have got me through.
Many people, from vast out into friends and coworkers, but more importantly would have been my now wife, Pinky, who was very supportive through the whole thing. Put up with, of course, all of my emotional things, and then every family member pretty much from there out. It's something you don't get through yourself. I think it takes everyone, including you.
Does this event still hurt you?
Absolutely. Sometimes it's hard to get out of bed in the morning. You just don't even want to deal with the day or deal with people. Certain things affect you. A song come on the radio, or anything. It just brings you right back to that.
Absolutely. Pretty much every day at some point. There's not a lot of days that I don't think about it. There are some. It really depends on, how you're occupied or which, what things. But there's always things that trigger, in your daily life, everything I do. It's just something that you always think about, and others, just, because you see it, because you see the same thing still happening all the time. Every time the news is on, almost daily, it's somewhere. So.
How would you think your life would be different if that event didn't happen?
It would be a lot different. I would have my son. I would have 2 sons. I would have more grandchildren. It just would be different. It would be a different life.
The things that would be different is that we would have gotten to see him grow. He was 19 years old, so he would have been a part of all our lives. We would have seen him become, his person as an older adult. Our lives would have changed, along with it. I would assume mostly for the better, because he was just very happy, very helpful, very all about others, all about, life would have definitely been enhanced and better with him around. It's a shame you didn't get to see all that part. You were very little. So I don't know if our life would be different. I think it would be enhanced for sure.
How was the HERO campaign started, and how long has it been around?
Okay, so back in the year 2000, John Elliott had just graduated from the Naval Academy and was planning to go to flight school. And he was driving back from Annapolis to his family's home for his mother's birthday. And there had been a man who had been drinking all day. He had been arrested by the police and then released to his friend because there were no laws at that particular time. The friend, maybe had another drink with him, whatever, but gave him back his car keys. He got into his car and started driving and hit John, and John's girlfriend was in the car also, on a head-on collision. John was killed right away. The girlfriend did survive. Within a few months, the Elliott family decided that having someone come to your door at 3 o'clock in the morning to tell you that your son has died from a drunk driver, they never wanted that to happen to anybody else. So they started the HERO campaign.
How was the HERO campaign spread awareness to people?
So whether we go to the local bars and taverns, that's where the people are drinking. We want to make sure that the bars and taverns are being conscientious about having designated drivers, and then rewarding that designated driver with a free non-alcoholic soda, coffee, whatever, so they feel like they're not totally left out. We also partner with high school level, middle school level, and college level. So we've involved ourselves with some video competitions, which the students, they get the message across, but they get it away in sort of a very creative and fun way. We have the Hero Walk, which again brings lots of students and their families together. It gives them time to discuss the importance of designated driving in a venue that's, again, fun, it's festive, but it also is a very tough time for the families to come together. It's a time for them to spend time with the photo of the one that they have lost and to remind everybody in the audience is, yeah, we're having a great day. We're all together today. But we have to be very, very conscious of never drinking and driving because we can see these families and what it is doing to them.
Our social media presence is pretty strong, doing our best to reach all of our key audiences. I think the key message for social media, the way that we communicate, is just that it just makes sense. If you're going to go out and you're going to engage in that, it just makes sense to have somebody pick you up so that everybody's safe and they get home. And the website's a mirror. It hosts all of our videos, all of the information that we are promoting.
How do you guys think we could get more involved in the campaign and as community members?
So our walk is one of the biggest and the best ways to get out there because the more people we have on the boardwalk, the more publicity that we get, and that helps to get the message out a lot more. Following our social media pages is another excellent way, or bringing programs into your schools that we might offer. Hanging posters on the walls in the locker rooms. Anyway, just for people to see that message and say, hey, I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, the only thing to add to that, because Pam covered it, is just to be the designated driver. There's nothing that speaks, there's no better way to get involved than to be the hero in a situation when it presents itself.
Drunk driving is a completely preventable tragedy that puts innocent people's lives in danger. You can not only ruin your life, but also others who had no part in your decision. Families are broken from their loved one being a victim of a drunk driving accident. Do the right thing. Don't drink and drive.